The landscape of big adventure bikes has changed. In 2026, we have 170 horsepower dirt missiles and self-lowering tourers. The gap between the best and the rest is massive. Whether you're crossing continents or crushing fire roads, here are the top 15 big adventure motorcycles you can buy right now. Number 1. BMW R1300 GS Adventure. The king has returned, but is wearing a very different crown this year. The R1300 GS Adventure is the most radical departure from the traditional GS formula we have seen in decades. Visually, it's controversial. That boxy, utilitarian aesthetic screams armored vehicle more than motorcycle, and that's exactly the point. This is built for the rider who measures trips in continents, not kilometers. At its heart is the updated 1300 boxer engine, pushing 145 horsepower and a massive 149 newton-meters of torque. It feels punchier and more direct than the old 1250, losing some of that agricultural chug in favor of a sharper, more reactive throttle. The big talking point, however, is the automated shift assistant. It eliminates the clutch lever entirely, handling stops and starts automatically while still letting you shift gears via the foot lever if you choose. It's strange at first, but in heavy traffic or technical climbing, it is absolute cheating. On the road, the handling is lighter than it looks thanks to a stiffer chassis and significant weight reduction compared to the previous Adventure model, though it is still a heavy beast at low speeds. The radar-assisted cruise control and collision warning systems are class-leading, but they add a layer of complexity that simple maintenance purists might resent. It's the ultimate tool for the job, provided your wallet can handle the premium price and the complexity of its tech. Number 2. KTM 1390 Super Adventure R. If the BMW is a tank, the KTM 1390 Super Adventure R is a guided missile designed for the dirt. For 2026, KTM is up the ante with the new 1350cc LC8 engine. It now features their camshift technology, which essentially gives you two engine profiles in one. Smooth, tractable torque at low RPMs for crawling through rocks, and absolutely savage high-end horsepower when the road opens up. We're talking about 173 horsepower in an adventure bike. It is practically lunacy. This bike is not for the timid. The seat is high, the suspension is stiff and race-focused, and the throttle response in sport mode can be startling. However, the R designation means this machine is genuinely capable of tackling terrain that would break most other leader-class bikes. The WP XPLOR Pro suspension soaks up jumps and washboards with an eerie composure that makes you feel like a Dakar hero, even if you're just riding fire roads. The electronic suite is massive, featuring a new touchscreen dashboard that finally works well with gloves. The reliability of KTM's electronics has improved, but ownership still requires a more hands-on, attentive mindset than a Japanese bike. If you are a tall, aggressive rider who spends 50% of your time off-road and wants to scare sports bikes on the tarmac in between, this is the only logical choice. Number 3. Ducati Multistrada V4S. Ducati continues to refine the definition of sport touring on stilts with the updated Multistrada V4S. This isn't really an off-roader, despite what the marketing photos show. This is a superbike capable of crossing the Alps in total comfort. The V4 Gran Turismo engine remains a masterpiece of engineering, delivering 170 horsepower with a smoothness that V-twins simply can't match. The 2026 updates have focused heavily on efficiency and comfort. The cylinder deactivation system now works while moving, not just at a stop, which helps reduce the heat roasting your legs, a major complaint in previous years. It also helps slightly with fuel consumption, though you should expect to visit gas stations frequently. This engine is thirsty. The Skyhook semi-active suspension is telepathic, erasing bumps on the highway while firming up instantly when you dive into a corner. Riding the Multistrada is an exercise in confidence. The electronics are subtle, intervening only when necessary, and the radar adaptive cruise control is arguably the smoothest in the industry. It's expensive to buy and expensive to service, but for a rider who wants Ferrari performance with SUV ergonomics, there is no substitute. Just keep it on the pavement or light gravel. It's too pretty and expensive to drop on rocks. Number 4. Honda African Twin Adventure Sports ES. Honda knows it cannot win the horsepower war against KTM and Ducati, so it doesn't try. The African Twin Adventure Sports ES focuses entirely on rideability and real-world endurance. The big change recently was the switch to a 19-inch front wheel, which signals Honda's admission that most of these bikes spend their lives on asphalt. This change makes the handling significantly sharper in corners and more stable under heavy braking. The dual-clutch transmission, or DCT, remains a unique selling point. About half of African twin buyers now choose it, and for good reason. The latest software update has smoothed out the low-speed jerkiness that plagued early models. In sport mode, it shifts faster and smoother than you ever could. The 1084cc parallel twin engine puts out around 100 horsepower. On paper, that sounds low compared to the competition, but on the road, it offers usable linear power that doesn't exhaust you after 8 hours in the saddle. It's not perfect, though. The infotainment screen takes forever to boot up, and the button-cluttered switchgear on the left handlebar is a nightmare of ergonomics. However, reliability is bulletproof, and maintenance costs are reasonable. It's the sensible choice for the solo traveler who values peace of mind over adrenaline. Triumph Tiger 1200 Rally Explorer. Triumph finally found his footing with the Tiger 1200. The Rally Explorer is the long-haul variant, boasting a massive 30-liter fuel tank that gives it a distinct range advantage over much of the competition. The engine is a T-plane triple, which is designed to have the low-end grunt of a twin and the top-end scream of a triple. It works, though it does introduce a vibration through the bars at cruising speeds that some riders find annoying. The standout feature here is the shaft drive. In a segment dominated by chain maintenance, the shaft drive is a luxury that high-mileage tourists will appreciate. Triumph has also introduced an active preload reduction. At low speeds, the rear suspension automatically softens to lower the seat height. For this bike this tall and top-heavy, that feature is a game-changer for riders with shorter ensigns. Handling is surprisingly agile for its weight, and the Brembo-style Emma brakes offer superbike levels of stopping power. The finish quality is exquisite, typical of modern Triumphs. It fits a rider who wants the off-road capability of the KTM, but prefers the comfort and shaft drive convenience of the BMW. It's a Goldilocks bike that does everything well, even if it doesn't dominate any single category. Number 6. Kawasaki Versys 1100 SE LT. Let's be honest, 99% of adventure bike owners never touch dirt. The Kawasaki Versys 1100 SE LT stops pretending and embraces its role as the ultimate road touring high rider. Updated from the venerable 10,000, the new 1099cc inline-4 engine brings a welcome bump in torque and horsepower, now sitting comfortably around 135 horsepower. This engine is butter smooth. There is zero vibration, just a linear surge of power that pulls hard from idle to redline. The electronic suspension on the SE model is plush, designed to float over potholes rather than attack apexes. It is undeniably comfortable. The seat is like a sofa, and the wind protection is excellent. It is arguably the best two-up motorcycle on this list. Your passenger will thank you for buying this over a KTM. The downside, it has zero off-road capability. The 17-inch wheels and limited ground clearance mean you should be wary of even jumping a curb. It also looks a bit dated compared to the jagged modern designs of its European rivals. But for the rider who wants a bulletproof Japanese tour with upright ergonomics and effortless mile munching, the Versys is practically unbeatable value. Number 7. Harley-Davidson Pan America 125 Special. When Harley-Davidson launched the Pan America, the world laughed. No one is laughing now. The Pan America 1250 Special has proven itself to be a legitimate contender. The Revolution Max 1250 engine is a gem. It's a high-revving, liquid-cooled V-twin that produces 150 horsepower and actually enjoys being thrashed. It feels nothing like a traditional Harley cruiser. It's lively, sporty, and surprisingly refined. The killer app on this bike is the active ride height. Unlike Triumphs that are soften the suspension, the Harley physically lowers the entire bike when you come to a stop, then lifts it back up once you start moving. It makes this big 1250 accessible to a huge demographic of riders who were previously priced out of the segment by their leg length. It's not flawless, though. The styling is love it or hate it, resembling a toaster on wheels from the front. The instrument cluster text is too small, and the heat coming off the catalytic converter on the right side can cook your ankle in slow traffic. But if you want something American, distinct, and genuinely innovative, the Pan America offers a riding experience that is surprisingly competitive with the European giants. Suzuki V-Strom 1050DE. The Suzuki V-Strom 1050DE is the cockroach of the adventure world. It will likely survive a nuclear apocalypse. While other manufacturers add radar, active aero, and automated gearboxes, Suzuki sticks to what works. The 1037cc V-twin is an ancient design, but it has been refined to perfection. It's torquey, reliable, and sounds fantastic. The DE model is the dirt-focused variant, featuring a 21-inch front wheel and a longer swing arm for stability on loose surfaces. It also includes a gravel traction control mode that allows for controlled rear-wheel spin. However, the suspension is manually adjustable, not electronic, and the dash interface feels a generation behind. Ride experience is heavy but planted. It feels like a tractor. It will go anywhere, slowly and steadily, without complaint. It lacks the top-end rush of the KTM or the tech wizardry of the Ducati, but it also costs significantly less and will likely run for 100,000 miles with just oil changes. This is the bike for the pragmatist who wants to spend their money on fuel and tires, not dealership labor rates.
Number 9. MV Agusta Enduro Veloce. If you buy a motorcycle with your heart instead of your head, this is the one. The MV Agusta Enduro Veloce is pure automotive art. It is arguably the most beautiful adventure bike ever made, with lines that flow rather than jut. But it's not just a showpiece. The 931cc triple-cylinder engine is a powerhouse, screaming to a red line with an exhaust note that sounds like a vintage Formula One car. Riding it is a visceral experience. The counter-rotating crankshaft, technology lifted from their race bikes, makes the handling incredibly quick for a 21-inch wheel motorcycle. It tips into corners with zero effort. The Brembo Stylema brakes and premium Sachs suspension are top-tier hardware. However, ownership is a commitment. The dealer network is sparse, parts availability can be spotty, and the price tag is eye-watering. The seat is hard, and the wind protection sacrifices function for form. This bike isn't for the rider going around the world. It's for the rider who wants to blast through a canyon on a Sunday morning and look better than everyone else while doing it.
Number 10. Husqvarna 901 Expedition. The Husqvarna 901 Expedition is effectively a KTM 890 Adventure that went to finishing school. It shares the same engine and frame, but is wrapped in arguably better styling and comes with premium touring upgrades as standard. The Expedition model includes heavy-duty skid plates, a center stand, heated grips, a heated seat, and soft luggage capability right out of the crate. On the road, it's smoother and more comfortable than its orange KTM cousin. The fairing is wider, offering better wind protection, and the suspension is tuned slightly softer for long-distance comfort rather than pure rally racing. The 889cc parallel twin is punchy and fun, lifting the front wheel in second gear with just a twist of the wrist. It occupies a sweet spot in the market, lighter than the 1200cc giants, but more capable and comfortable than the middleweights. Reliability has been generally good, though it shares the same potential electronic quirks as the KTMs. It's the ideal bike for the solo explorer who wants a stylish, capable machine that doesn't look like a transformer. Number 11. Moto Guzzi Stelvio. The Moto Guzzi Stelvio is the charming alternative. It features a unique transverse V-twin engine where the cylinders poke out the sides, rocking the bike to the right when you blip the throttle. It's a sensation full of character that modern clinical engines lack. For 2026, the Stelvio has been modernized with a liquid-cooled engine that produces around 115 horsepower, finally giving it the legs to keep up with modern traffic. It features shaft drive, which is a huge plus in this displacement class, and surprisingly advanced tech, including an optional radar system for blind spot monitoring. The electric windshield is fantastic, creating a calm pocket of air at highway speeds. Handling is stable rather than agile. It carries its weight well once moving, but it's top-heavy in parking lots. It's not an off-roader. The suspension travel is limited, and the weight is substantial. But as a characterful, long-distance touring machine that stands out in a sea of GSs and Tigers, the Stelvio is a deeply satisfying motorcycle to own. Number 12. Ducati Desert X Rally. While the Multistrada is the SUV, the Desert X Rally is the Baja trophy truck. This is Ducati's serious attempt at a hardcore off-roader, and they nailed it. The Rally spec upgrades the standard Desert X with professional-grade KYB closed cartridge suspension, lighter wheels, and a high front fender. It looks incredible, channeling the spirit of 1990s Dakar races.
The 937cc Testastrada engine is lively and engaging, with a torque curve that is perfect for sliding the rear end on dirt. The ergonomics are spot on for standing up, and the bike feels slim between the legs. On the road, the 21-inch front wheel and long travel suspension make it a bit vague in corners compared to a Multistrada, but the ride quality over broken pavement is sublime. The seat height is stratospheric. Short riders need not apply. It is also pricey for a sub-1000cc bike, but if you want a Ducati that you can genuinely jump off a sand dune without snapping the frame, this is it. It's raw, loud, and incredibly capable. Number 13, Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. The Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro punches well above its weight class. It technically competes with the middleweights, but its feature set and price put it squarely against the big bikes. The 888cc triple engine has a unique firing order that gives it improved traction off-road while maintaining that signature Triumph howl at high RPMs. What makes the Rally Pro special is the value. It comes standard with everything: heated seats, tire pressure monitoring, shift assist, and crash bars. You don't have to spend thousands on the options list like you do with BMW. The ergonomics are excellent for long days, and the suspension is fully adjustable Showa units that handle both road and dirt competently. It does have some vibes through the handlebars at highway speeds, which can numb your fingers after an hour. And while it is lighter than a 1200, it's still top-heavy compared to a Tenere 700. But as a do-it-all motorcycle that balances daily commuting, touring, and light off-roading, it is arguably the most versatile bike on this list. Number 14. Yamaha Tenere 700 World Raid. The Yamaha Tenere 700 World Raid is the antidote to technology overload. There are no ride modes to decipher, no traction control menus to navigate, and no radar to beep at you. It is just you, a throttle cable, and a clutch. The World Raid version adds dual fuel tanks for a massive 300-mile range, upgraded suspension, and a steering damper, addressing the main complaints of the standard model. The 689cc CP2 engine is legendary for its reliability and tractable power. It only makes about 72 horsepower, which sounds pathetic next to the KTM's, but in the dirt, it's all you need. The bike feels mechanical and connected in a way modern bikes often don't. On the highway, it suffers. You'll miss the cruise control, and the passing power at 80 miles per hour is limited. The seat is narrow and hard, designed for active riding, not touring, but for the rider who wants to cross the Gobi Desert and be able to fix their bike with a hammer and a wrench, the Tenere remains the gold standard. Number 15. CF Moto Ibex 800 Touring. Closing out the list is the wild card from China, the CF Moto Ibex 800 Touring. A few years ago, this wouldn't have made the cut, but the value proposition is now undeniable. It uses a KTM-derived engine, meaning it has genuine performance heritage, pumping out around 95 horsepower. It comes loaded with tech that costs extra on Japanese bikes: cornering ABS, heated seats and grips, and a massive iPad-style touchscreen. The ride quality is surprisingly decent, with KYB suspension that handles road irregularities well. So, what's the catch? The fuel mapping can still be snatchy in sport mode, and the traction control isn't as refined as the European systems. Resale value is a massive question mark, but you can buy this bike fully loaded with luggage for significantly less than a base model V-Strom or Tiger. For the budget-conscious adventurer who wants a new bike with a warranty rather than a used gamble, the Ibex 800 demands respect.